We gotta talk about that Sector 4 Conquest feats though, guys. But before we do that, if you haven't already, I got Sectors 1, 2, and 3 videos sorting out all the feats for you for the previous sectors of this version of Conquest. Make sure you check them out, make sure you like, make sure you comment on them, and tell me how glorious my bald head is today. You know you want to. Let's break this down.
Scraps, so give it up.
My dead body.
Alright then, Sector 3 is a bit of a doozy. Sector 3, I meant Sector 4. Sector 4 is also a bit of a doozy. Alright, okay, so what do we have? We've got to kill 50 enemies with Imperial Troopers. We have to win 14 battles with full squad of Inquisitorius. We need to attempt to inflict Evasion down 40 times. And we need to attempt to inflict Armor Shred 20 times. Now, some of these feats can be cheesed rather nicely. We're going to cover out how to do that first. But if we're going to talk about that, first thing we need to do, as you all are aware, is keep an eye out for certain teams. There's only one team I want you to keep an eye out, guys. Okay, one team that you really, or maybe let's push the boat out and say 2 teams that we want you to keep an eye out for. Okay, first and foremost, we want to be looking for a Hux lead first order. These ones are super useful for farming out debuff-based feats. You can already see we've got Evasion down and we've got Armor Shred. You can get them done so easily just by abusing a Crew Shard. Okay, so if you're running Volatile Accelerator and Amplify Agony and all this business, you'll be able to get these done super quick, like a battle, maybe 2 if you're, not really doing it quickly enough. But just find one. Make sure you tag one of these, preferably on a challenge path, and it'll make your life easier, okay? You can farm it out gradually, but I like to try and get them done in a lot of battles. Okay, so I'm just going to talk real quick once again about the Datadisk Setup. I'm going to put this at the start of every video so people are aware of what I'm running. Volatile Accelerator with Ruthless Swiftness and Amplify Agonies. I've got a ridiculously disgusting setup here. Okay, blue Volatile Accelerator with 3 blue Amplify Agonies. That's just ridiculous amounts of damage out the gate and a lot of debuffs. I'm also running Voluntary Vanguard here. It's not necessary for most of the battles, but it can be incredibly pivotal in 1 or 2 scenarios. You can swap this out for more Amplify Agonies if you don't have blue versions, or even more Ruthless Swiftness if you want a little bit more speed. This speed is just icing on the cake. Icing on the proverbial cake. Alright, let's start off with a little bit of the Armor Shred and your Evasion down battles. Go and find yourself a crew team. Try to have one that does not have the First Order Special Forces TIE Fighter pilot. You don't want any of that AoE business impairing your ability to hashtag just win. Okay, so we're using CLS with Han Solo, C-3PO, Old Ben, and Sabine Wren. Okay, so Moldy-Wan Ben Kenob over here can provide a little bit of that evasion down on our basic. Sabine has got the ability to apply armor shreds. C-3PO is there to make sure that we can actually go in and decrease the cooldowns on her character to keep cycling through, okay? We need Han Solo there just to start killing the enemy before they just roll us. If you happen to have, and this is just a little pro tip to make things easier, and I think we'll just display it now. If you happen to have yourself an initial tether tech, this ability over here will give ability blocks to the entire enemy team on the first turn. It will make your life a lot easier. Okay, where did I find that team? There it is. No, that's not it. You don't want this Special Forces TIE Fighter pilot, although I suppose it doesn't matter if you're using the tether tech. Where did I put it? Over here, ignore me, technical difficulties as usual. So the initial tether tech will help us and ensure that they can't use any special abilities, any AoEs out the gate. Makes it a little bit easier, and if you do not finish the battle, if you just time out, you're not going to actually use up that initial tether tech, okay? So what I'd recommend people do, I like how the Amplify Agony is dealing damage right out the gate as well. What I'd like you to do is just kill General Hux. There we go. They can't use any of their special abilities right now. And when we do this, flip it on back and reverse it, you can see he's actually got his bonus turn. This basic over here from Old Ben is applying Evasion down, which is exactly what we want. And then we just want to get rid of Sith Trooper over here. That's going to be enough damage when he takes a turn. And immediately, you want to put that translation on Sabine Wren. You want to try and get her stacks of translation up as soon as possible, okay? Throwing out the armor shreds with Sabine there. Just do a little bit of damage over there to that TIE Fighter pilot. He's definitely going to die when he takes a turn. And now we just want to play the long game. Always using basics on crew. That will keep him stunned. And get those triple stacks of translation over there on Sabine. fantabulous. Now, every time we basic with Old Ben, and every time we basic with C-3PO is going to decrease the cooldowns on Sabine, and she should essentially be able to armor shred every single turn. And the idea from here is to just farm it out. Play it manually, because if you put it on full auto, you know, C-3PO will always call to assist, and he won't decrease her cooldowns, and, you know, Old Ben will be using other specials, and it just slows down the process. It's actually much quicker for you to actually go in manually. You can see Sabine over here has got armor shred literally every single turn, and every single turn we basic with Old Ben, we're applying that evasion down. So you can get a lot of this done very, very quickly. Now, if you wanted to, you could potentially remove one of the other Old Ben or Sabine to speed this up even further. Go in with a short man team. So long as you've got the core there, making sure you've got that translation coming up on Sabine, you can always be able to use that armor shred, and this will make your life so much easier for this particular feat. And the great thing is, like I said, is you do not waste that initial tether tech, so you'll get to do it, you know, even if this takes you 2 or 3 battles, it's absolutely not a problem. All you're doing essentially is just wasting a little bit of energy. You don't waste stamina, and you do not waste that particular consumable either, because it will last for 2 victories within this. You can see already we're halfway through the battle and we've got 9 armor shreds. I'm pretty certain that going through this we will absolutely manage to get 20 armor shreds. So this will be a once and done jobby, and we'll get our good long way onto our evasion downs. Now, you can mop up the rest by doing this again if you like, or you can go in and just throw in Old Ben in either a CLS team, or you could throw him in a Jedi Master Luke team, or anything really. This is great. I like doing this because it means we do not have to swap out our Datadisk setup. We can still keep on Volatile Accelerator and Amplifier, and you don't have to waste your energy removing those data disks if you do not have the Conquest Pass Plus, which I am pretty certain that you don't have the Conquest Pass Plus, because who wants to spend money on that large piece of extortion there? The only other problem that you might face when you're trying to run this sort of setup is that the game can experience a little bit of slowdown when it's trying to deal with all of those debuffs. You can see Crew at the minute has got, you know, nearly 1,200 dots on him, and that is causing the game just to have a little bit of lag every so often, but ultimately you should be okay. Just make sure you wait at the end of the battle to ensure that you actually get that loss sign, okay, that defeat sign at the end, because that means you are going to lock in your progress towards whatever feats that you've been farming. But this is just easily the easiest way of getting all of those armor shreds in just one battle. Like I said, you could put it on auto, but I promise you, you will not get half as many armor shreds as this, okay? We'll easily hit 20 at the very least here. Just checking through it now, we've got a minute left, and how many are we on? We're on 18 armor shreds already. We only need 2 more armor shreds. I can imagine we've probably got as many evasion downs, maybe 1 or 2 more evasion downs compared to the armor shreds, so it might take you 2 or 3 battles to get the evasions down done, but ultimately this is a no risk way of getting this feat absolutely cleaned up in a battle or 2, okay? Yep, easy money. Let's just speed it up right to the end here, and you can see that we're just not going to lock in this victory, so you do not have that stamina depletion or anything like that on your team. Lovely jubbly. There is armor shred number 21, in fact. Yeah, we've gone over. We are starting to loop. This is going to count against next season's Conquest. It's not, guys. I wish it would, but it really doesn't win you anything. And yes, I am still here trying to armor shred. Now, you will not win this battle, guys. It's impossible for you to win this battle without having some form of insta-kill or without applying some form of heal immunity. But more importantly, you don't even want that. It doesn't matter how much armor shreds we throw on him. He is always going to be recovering all of that damage thanks to the sheer volume of debuffs that we are putting on him. And we've just about hit 2,000 debuffs there, I think. Lovely jubbly. That was 22, 23 armor shreds and probably about 25 to 30 evasion downs. Super easy. You can just go in then, either do the same battle again if you want to, and you will clean up the rest of these evasion down feats, or you can just use him in a normal team as you go along and you will get it organically, slowly over time. Okay? Okay, so we don't actually have to look out for a team to help us farm out the Imperial Troopers squad kills. You can just go ahead and use the mini-boss node over here. This has got a modifier on it called Never Ending Ranks, which gives them 5 revives, okay? Super easy way of farming out the kills. If your Imperial Troopers have got next to no gear, you can absolutely still get victories in this by using a frenzy tech over here. I will show you the strategy, and this can apply to kills in any single sector with any team, okay? With any team. I'm wasting my frenzy tech here, but I really don't care because I just love you guys so much. All right. So the strat, very simple, very straightforward. You go in with a team of the units that you need to get the kills with. You go ahead, in this case, we're using Imperial Troopers. We're going to throw in these lovely, lovely, attractive looking people. Actually, let's make sure we get Range Trooper in there. And then you throw in a wonderful individual known as Wat Tambor. So Frenzy Tech applies Frenzy to the entire team on your side of the field. Whenever you use a special, they're essentially going to gain 100% bonus turn meter, essentially giving them turns throughout the entire process. So we can go ahead and you can say, oh, let's just go ahead and throw this over here. Now I'm going to try and get that mass days out on the board. Lovely, we've got the days on the Piet over there, and then we're just going to kill people. We're just going to kill people and we'll easily get the kills. Even if you don't have gear, if you're running that volatile accelerator and that amplify agony, you will absolutely 100% be getting kills with this, okay? So we could do the AoE here and we could probably get quite a lot of the kills done. Boop, 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 boop. Lovely jubbly. And let's just keep on passing this around. You can see that this chevron over here, the triple chevrons over there, that is their never-ending ranks. So as long as they have that, they will be respawning. But if we just do a nice chunky AoE over here, lovely, they are no longer respawning. And then we can shoot him in the face and he dies. And then we can shoot Shore Trooper in the face and he dies. And then we can finally go off and try to finish off on Moff Gideon over here. When it gets just down to Dark Trooper, you just let it time out, guys. You let it time out. Like I said, you can do this using the Frenzy Tech against any single team in any sector where you need to get kills. If you do not have any gear or very little gear on the character or the faction that you need to get kills with, this is how you do it. And this is probably how I would recommend people go out and farm their Seer and or Cal Kestis kills, because you can get there are 5 characters here that you can kill, and there are 5 revives. You can easily get 10 plus kills a battle, so it would just take you 10 battles essentially in order to max out those kills if you are starting completely from scratch. But the benefit of this, the main benefit of this, is that there is 0 risk involved. You do not need to have good gear. You only need to have a Zeta on Wat Tambor and an initial Frenzy Tech, which you can get from the store for, I believe it is 75 crystals, or you can even find it from the Wandering Scavenger as you go through each node. So make sure you are checking those nodes, see if you've got initial Frenzy Tech, and if you can buy it, not necessarily with crystals if you don't have it to spare, but if you can use your Conquest currency to maybe buy 1 or 2 of those, you can save it for a pivotal opportunity in your Conquest farming where you can finish off those feats. Okay, I'm going to let this time out and I'll catch you back in a couple of minutes. All right, fantastic. Now, okay, for the rest of the sector feats that we're talking about here, we've already gone ahead and covered stuff like the armor shreds, the evasion downs, and we've talked about how to get Imperial Trooper kills if you do not happen to have very good geared Imperial Troopers. If you do, we've already identified the best node for you to do it on. Yes, you could push it to the bonus node if you've got good gear Imperial Troopers and you don't mind doing it in more battles. Nothing wrong with that. I have a few problems with showing you the rest of the feats though, because Inquisitorius is one of those factions that if you do not have GI or if you do not have Reaver, or both in some cases, it becomes a lot more difficult to get those victories. If you've got relic investment in them, just going with a 5th brother leadership and using my Datadisk setup that I have now, it doesn't have to be as good as mine, just the same sort of principle. Volatile accelerator with 3 sets of amplify agony. I promise you, absolutely promise you, that Inquisitors will do perfectly fine with a team such as this 5th brother lead with the rest of the Inquisitors. You don't necessarily need these 2. All the debuffs that you put out on this team will just mean you do ridiculous amounts of damage through amplify agony. Now, I do recommend still going ahead and finding easier nodes, or even trying to do it on the bonus node if you can, and just gradually try to complete this as you're either progressing, if you've got good investment in your Inquisitorius, or right at the end of the bonus node, once every day, just sort of do 2 or 3 battles and you'll get it done in good time. Okay? Similarly speaking, when we look at the boss nodes, I don't think that there's much value in me showing you these battles, okay? Winning with Starkiller against the Imperial Troopers, EP Marajade Starkiller, throwing in the likes of Visas Mar, throwing in the likes of Old Ben or General Kenobi, any of that sort of combination of characters will absolutely destroy this. Hokey Religions is a very easy feat to get done. If you've got Jabba the Hutt and the Hutt Cartel faction built up, just use Jabba the Hutt and Hutt Cartel. That will easily beat that. If you do not have Jabba the Hutt, I recommend you go in with General Grievous and BB-8. So the idea behind that setup, if you haven't looked at my earlier videos, is that BB-8 passes additional TM to his droid allies dependent on the number of droids in the team. So for each droid in the team, BB-8 is starting with and passing 8% turn meter to every droid. So because there are 5 droids here, we are gaining 40% bonus TM at the start of the battle. That means you're basically going to outpace anybody, no matter what. And GG is great with an Amplify Agony setup because they put out a bunch of debuffs, and there are a lot of AoEs, so you'll clear house very, very quickly, and you shouldn't even lose a unit. So use this if you don't have Jabba the Hutt, use Jabba the Hutt if you do have him, and you will have a very easy time doing all of the Hokey Religions feat. Starkiller will just destroy that boss. The boss node at the end is Admiral Trench surviving and a team full of light side characters. There are about a dozen teams that can do this. You could go with CLS, you could go with Gas, you could go with JKR, you could go with JKL, you could go with any number of the light side GLs, any number being literally any of them. It is not a hard battle. And Admiral Trench surviving. Similarly, I mean, I suppose we could show Admiral Trench reviving Admiral Trench, but we also have a Frenzy Tech active at the moment that is going to skew the effectiveness of this team just a little bit. But it does highlight a point that if you have been running a Amplify Agony setup here to maybe Amplify Agony setup, a Frenzy Tech setup over here to try and get the victories with, or the kills with the Imperial Troopers, or maybe you were even farming out Seer or Jedi Cal kills on the mini-boss node, you might still have your Frenzy Tech available to go ahead and finish it off here. So we'll just put the Tank Tech over here on Django. As you can see, we're all gaining all of these bonus turns. And this should be very, very easy, because Amplify Agony just makes this an absolute joke. It's that easy, guys. This sector is super, super easy as far as feats are concerned. But that is enough about me and today in my business. I would really, really appreciate it, guys, if you took just a quick moment to go ahead and like this video. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I will be pushing out further videos covering up the final sector and global feats before too long. So make sure you stay tuned for that. For all other business, love y'all. Peace out. May the Force be with you.